really nice. I just want to say, like, as I said before, really nice job with this. This is the type of simplicity, as I said, that you can use over and over. And you'll have other things that you work off of course, notebooks and stuff. But when you can just look with your mind and go through it like this, it's just a great job. So we're going to share this with you guys so you can have it. And there's a lot of others that did great as well, I will say that. But we're just gonna rock with Devin and see how she laid it out.
Well, first of all, I have to admit, Imani's homework was the inspiration behind jazzing mine up, because prior to this, I had defaulted to the black and white. But when those homeworks were shared, it definitely inspired me to be like, okay, you can add a little color, a little splash of color here. Like, it's all right, be creative. So shout out to y'all or shout out to Imani specifically for inspiring me to pull all of my creativity out from my homeworks. But so yeah, this is just a checklist that I made. It was literally like a checklist based off of the previous homework and the steps that I wrote out. So the first thing obviously that I would need is an event name for the flyer, the event location, the date, the door time that we open, and then when we close. And then everything else, the way I kind of came up with the phases was kind of borrowing from the concept of the Fearless Artist method, where you just break everything into sections and then move on from there. So phase one is the planning section. So like before everything even gets started, what am I trying to do here? So identify the things above: the event name, the venue, the time. After that, the lineup, who's going to be in the show, and then what kind of crew do I need? So in addition to working out my budget, who am I going to have on my team for, like, the door, taking tickets, helping people finding parking, and then also the DJ, the video, the photographer, the sound, the light, all that stuff is in planning. And then once I have all of the participants identified, the location and the logistics of the event, then I can go to actually reaching out and putting things in place. So that's phase two, booking. For me, I'm very big on agreements. I don't want to say contracts, but an agreement, so that can't nobody be like, oh, I didn't know. You did know. So signed agreements with everybody involved, just so that it gives me that extra, I guess, confidence to know that we already agreed to this. There's no surprises, when I expect, what I expect, how I expect. So that's really important for the booking phase. Before anything gets rolling, everybody agrees to what their role in this event is going to be. Then after that, it's getting the tickets ready, putting the Eventbrite together, and then also getting any type of equipment. So if I have to get a stage, if I have to rent lights or speakers, or just even booking the venue kind of falls into this as well. And then after all that is set up, we go into the promotion phase, where we start to put the flyers all over the place, from IG, Facebook, Eventbrite. Also, one thing that I have done in the past that was actually really, really critical was newspaper submissions. And there's always like newspapers that will put your flyer in their newspaper, but usually it takes like sometimes 30 days to 60 days in advance. And so that's something that was very, very beneficial, but it's also something that you have to kind of take into consideration well in advance. So that's that. Also business canvassing, to where any type of businesses in the area, hold on one second. Sorry about that. Any type of businesses in the area, whether it's barbershops, bookstores, any type of business that aligns with the type of people that I expect to come to my event, going to them and just asking, would you mind if I hung flyers? If they're really cool, you might actually be able to post up and hand them out to their customers. It just depends on the kind of vibe and space. But yeah, that's pretty much the promotion phase. Also running ads on Facebook and Instagram. I've done that and it does actually work. It's not something that I feel like unless you have a massive following, you can just rely on solely, because you just basically, ads just get your name and your image out there, but it's not necessarily always going to translate to sales and stuff like that. But I do believe that ads are very beneficial. And then creating a promo schedule for posting stuff, because I know for me, if I don't create a schedule, the posts are kind of just random and they're not as effective. And then phase 4 is once we actually get into the event and it's like, you know, a couple weeks away, a couple days away, creating an actual schedule. So sound check, setup, load in, the actual lineup for each performance slot, setting up the gallery. That's what I mean by creating the event schedule. And then being able to have that schedule like locked down so that I can provide that to everyone that's going to be there as far in advance as possible, again, so that those expectations are set and any conflicts can be worked out as soon as possible. And then I believe there's only one more phase that I included, phase 5, which is the follow-up. And so that is when I have the photographers and videographers there, it's to create some type of recap video at the end that I can share on social media in addition to any pictures that were taken. Also creating a survey so that I can get a feel of how people really did experience it. What was their favorite part of the show? What was their favorite vendor? And what are things that they might want to see next time? Also, any type of contact information that I get, names, IG handles, email address, add those to my, you know, archive of contact information, whether it's a mailing list or whatever it is, making sure that I follow all those people that I'm not following on the event Instagram right away to keep them engaged with anything that's coming up. And then also following up with the venue, keeping a relationship with them so that if I want to go with them again, I can, but also so that they feel more inclined to share pictures, share photos, and just keep getting the name out. So this is just a short, like, I guess, concise version of the full steps, because there's a lot of steps in these steps, but that's pretty much the overview to make sure that everything is being handled from top to bottom. So that's it. And then this little excerpt, not excerpt, but my response to what did I observe? The main thing that I observed was just, you need a team. That's number one. And then also, when you break things into phases, it helps so that you're not looking at the big picture. You're just focusing on what to do first so that the big picture can actually be accomplished. And working this out really helped me, because sometimes I always look at the bigger picture and I'm like, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. But being able to break it into phases helps to be thorough and complete every phase so that the next thing can also be just as focused on, just as thorough, without having to worry about what came before it or after it. So that was my homework. That was pretty much it.